a lot of developers ask me, what is the most important technology for me to learn? What is the most important language? Or, should I learn AI or DevOps or something else? What is the most important skill that I need right now? And to answer all those questions, you have to answer a question before that. And that question is, what is your center? If you want to grow your career, you have to know about yourself. You have to know about your center. So I'm here in Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. Brasilia was built right in the middle of the country. And where I am right now, I'm right in the middle of the city. So if you see right there in between those buildings right there, all the way to the end, that is where we call the square of the three powers, right? It's where we have the palace of the president, and we have the justice palace, and then we also have the house and the senate. So I'm right here in the center of Brazil, in the center of Brasilia, and I can't stop thinking about this whole idea of what are our center. So what's your center? What is the most important thing for you in your life, in your career, right? Because that's not an easy question to answer. I was talking to a developer the other day. I'm not going to say his name, but I was talking to him, and he called me, and he wanted to talk because he really wanted to have my help on what is the next thing that he wants to learn, right? So, he's been working with the same thing for a long time, and he wants to learn the next thing, right? So he wants to be ready to learn something else, because he loves software development, he loves to learn things, and so he would just want to know what is the next thing, right? And that's all great and good, right? So I started talking with him, and then I found out that he is dying, right? So he may have just a few months of life, right? And here he is thinking about what is the next step for his career, right? And I asked him, I said, that's okay, right? I do understand that. I do understand that, our careers are so important. But I asked that to him, I said, that's all great and good, but how about your wife? How about your son, right? Because he was complaining to me that he didn't have enough time to spend with them, right? He did not have enough time to learn new things and spend time with them and do his job. And I'm like, man, what's your center, right? I mean, what's your priority, right? Because, yes, you can learn new things, but can you learn new things by spending more time with your family, right? And then he started thinking about it and said, yeah, man, there's so many things I want to do with my son, right? So many things I want to do with my wife. I said, go do those things. Right? Get the thing that are most important for you and go do those things, right? I think we have to set priorities. I have to set the most important thing. And then, when we had that discussion, when I talked to him again later on, he said that he's spending more time and he's getting his son to learn programming because that's one of the things that his sons want to do and he wants to teach him and all of that. And he's building this relationship, right? That's going to last for his son's lifetime, right? And so, and when I say a story like this, right, and maybe this guy's willing to come and tell his story at some time, because I do think that all of us need to think about that, right? Because we might not know that we're dying, but we are dying, right? That's the only certain thing in life, right? And so, but we might not. You might not be, probably and hopefully you're not in that situation, right? I don't want to make this situation a light situation, a very serious situation, but probably you're not in that situation right now, and but you might be in other situation, right? So just a couple of days ago, I talked with another developer, and and he was all worried about his career, all worried about what he was going to do, all of that. But then when we start talking about his family and his sons, right? And everything changes, right? And he told me, because he came to the conversation saying, I want to know the next technology, the next thing I need to learn. And when we start talking about all those things, he was like, yeah, man, this is so much more clear to me, because now that I know that what I really want is to give a better life to my family, right? Is to, is to actually put my family in a better position, is to, think of a future for my kids, right? I want them to, to travel abroad, and I want them to have experience that I didn't have, right? And so now that I know that, choosing the technology that I'm going to go after is so much easier, right? It's because once, anything can happen, right? The things can change, technology can change, but when you know your center, when you know the things that are important for you, everything gets more clear, right? It might not be the easiest answer of all, right? But it's gonna be more clear. And then once you know what you want, once you know what really matters, that's when you can start moving in the direction that you want. And when you start moving in the direction that you want, there's all kinds of tools that you can use to move in your direction, right? So, if I want to go from here and I want to go visit, the Congress there and the ministries and all that. If I want to go there, I can use all kinds of tools, right? I can walk, right? I can get a Uber, I can call a cab, I can get a friend of mine to give me a ride, I can find a bus. There's all kinds of ways, and maybe there's different paths, right? No, I could go directly here, right, by walking, right? But maybe I want to walk over there, over this beautiful fountain, and just gonna go over there to those buildings and stop in the shopping center over there and then go and get there, right? Or, I may just gonna get a Uber and go somewhere else, right? Before I get to the place I want to get, right? Because I want to see a little bit of the city, for example. That's the city I was born after all, right? So maybe I want to go, just kind of go over there, see a little bit before I get to my final destination. I know I can choose different paths. I can just choose different tools if I know that I want to get there, right? But if I don't know what's the most important for me, if I don't know what's my center, then it doesn't matter which path I go, right? That's the awesome Alice in the Wonderland a phrase from the Cheshire Cat, right? Alice asks him, which way should I go, right? And then the cat tells her, well, it depends where you want to get, right? And then Alice responds something like, oh, it doesn't matter, right? And then the cat says, well, if it doesn't matter where you want to go, any path would take you there, right? Because it really doesn't matter. So you just walk aimlessly, right? But interesting enough, on that story, Alice completes her statement. She says, as long as I get somewhere, right? And that's what we want, right? We want to know what we want. What is our center? What is the most important thing for us? And in our life, not only in our careers. And then we can think about all kinds of different paths and tools and technologies and anything that we want to get where we're gonna get, right? So, before you start thinking about the next technology, before you start thinking about your next position, spend some time, right? Spend some time thinking about where's your center, right? Where's the most important thing for you in your life, right? Because there's no such thing as, people say, oh, Bruno, how do I do a work-life balance? There's no such thing as a work-life balance, man. There's just life, your life, right? Your life is important, right? So when you think about work-life balance, think about how can I have my life balanced? How can I have my life the way I want it? How can I work towards something that is my center, that I believe in, that's the most important thing that I want to do? Think about that, because that's important. Not an easy question. I want to tell you this is not an easy question, but that's an important one. And if you want to discuss those things about your career with me, I'm always having career conversation with developers. So the best way to do that is to join me on the Code for Life mailing list, right? I'm going to leave a link on the description below how you can join my mailing list, because I discuss the software developer career every day, and thinking about this wider vision of where do you want to get and how you want to get there, right? So this is Bruno Souza for Code for Life, directly from Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. See you in the next video.